Welcome back, everybody, to The Creative Moment, Season 9, Episode 1, the Season 9 premiere. As promised, new studio. This is an indoor-outdoor studio, so we might be in the same facility, but different kind of locations throughout, pending classic Nebraska weather and trades. But without further ado, we're excited to bring you our Season 9 premiere of The Creative Moment with Dante and Jamie Bullhauer. So let's just jump right in. Got both new bubbler flavors here. And today we are talking about doubt and what that can do to your creativity. There it is, I think, a very slippery slope that you can go down once doubt starts to creep into just kind of any part of your life. If you feed into that or don't nip it in the bud necessarily, it can really cause some damage and some setbacks and things.
Yeah.
So
well, and how to battle it, like how do you deal, and there's different, actually kind of different levels, probably different expectations that are built with it, and you having, actually making money and having customers who have to kind of be, like, I wonder how much you deal with that, like on a daily basis, where April was poetry a month, I blog, and stuff like that. It's not such a, it is a direct thing. It is a direct thing, but I don't face it quite the same.
I think we have different types of doubt, where yours, I don't know, sound bad, but like where yours is more at points, can I succeed with this type, maybe more long-termish doubt. I don't really know how to say it without sounding mean. That's not my point. But like there's some doubt of, can I make money off this? Can I like create this audience type thing? Maybe. I should stop speaking.
Well, actually,
it's
kind of random. Like I could get a review out of nowhere, and just like it's was a couple of months ago for Under the Lights. Just whoa, where'd that come from? Because it's been out for so long. So it is different. You get every time you hand it over to the customer or it's displayed on the big screen to a degree.
It's an interesting kind of dynamic when working with clients, because some of them trust me fully with my creative process, creative work, whatever. And that it's harder for me to doubt myself working with those clients, because one, it helps me get way more into the project, into the flow, because I feel that kind of creative freedom, where there are some clients that hire me and then immediately doubt my ability to be able to execute what they hired me to execute, even though they hired me because of my past work. So their doubt can sometimes seep into, or can sometimes turn into doubt in myself, because I might start overthinking, is this what they want? What did they mean by this kind of off-putting comment that they didn't mean to be off-putting, but just kind of questioned my ability or knowledge or whatever. There is, I think the doubt for me comes a lot more like with anything with the bigger projects or the more wider audience projects. Just wanting to be sure that the feedback will be good, or be sure that the client at least likes the work, things like that. And I think that's natural with anything. I'm still, for the most part now, pretty confident in my abilities, my work, and especially with clients I've worked with for a lot of years, I kind of know what they expect and want. And so that helps kind of negate some of that doubt. But there's still, especially like just getting done with that documentary, I had a lot of doubt on, is this what this community of Grand Island football is looking for? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
All I had to go off of was the documentary from last year, and it's a very different style than what I did. So,
and a whole different story.
And a whole different, as different as you can get with the plot of it. But I don't feel that it hampers me as much as when I started out. Sometimes now with such a big portfolio now, I feel that if the client doesn't like it, maybe instead of me not being good enough, maybe it just wasn't the right fit for what they were looking for and what I provide, more than me doubting if I'm good enough or not. So it's been a lot better for me being able to channel any doubt I have and not necessarily have it kind of put me into or run me into a roadblock or something like that.
Yeah. And I know over the years, though, you've had customers where they're like, send an email, wait, can you do this instead? Or do, which to a degree is kind of like editing. I mean, you let them see, and then, but I know that it's like, well, that's not what you asked for the first.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, as customers, are like, they got this vision in their head. They don't know how to articulate it until they actually see something and then go, wait, no, how about, something like this instead. It's funny in regard whether it's blog or poem or stuff like that. I don't get feedback right away all the time. And sending out work to literary magazines and things like that, I've had way more rejections than I had acceptance. But I actually have 2 poems coming. The issue will be out on Monday, I believe, for one, and then for the catalog coming out, I think at the end of the month. So I do get, except they're not, and neither of them are paid. Here's the things, but it does, and everybody on social media or my friends in my network, they're like, oh, everybody gets, but you still, it sucks. It sucks when you get a rejection, and then you're just like, maybe I'm just not that good. Maybe I'm just not that good. And for me, the doubt creeps in the sense that I do have the big dream of someday maybe being able to be an author that I can support myself with, whatever that might be. But it also then, the tension of the doubt is like, maybe I should just give it up. To be honest, I do think about it, it's like, just enough. I've tried for decades, and so that doubt just creeps in because it takes a lot of time, takes energy, and not saying that your work for your customers is still part of you and your creativity, but in my world, like, the poetry and stuff is so personal. So when it does get rejected, it's just like, oh, okay. And so it creeps in. But then after a while, I might not write for a week. And then it's just like, let's get back on the hold on. I got this idea. I can't, I don't think I ever would ever give it up. It does. When the doubt comes in, that's the big question. I just like, it's just not worth it. I could do other things or stuff. So even though time helps build confidence, what are some other ways that you battle or get over the doubt? Or what are some actual tools or things that could help somebody else when they're faced with that? Especially with customers. I do have customers, but it's nowhere close to the same kind of outlet that you have.
Yeah, I think one of the ways that kind of helps me is just keep creating. So some of the avenues that I don't make maybe as much money, for example, selling landscapes, whatever. There's some parts of me that wonders, am I as good at landscape photography as I maybe think I am, whatever. I just sold my first landscape, so I'm on top of the world with that. But before that, just keeping photographing them, keeping sharing them, just kind of helps not think about the doubt as much. That can still maybe be there, but if you just keep creating, sometimes that doubt just kind of gets pushed by the wayside. Dealing with clients, I think it's easier said than done, but just having an open mind to what they like that their, I guess, reaction or feedback is not the end all be all if they don't like it, or if they even do like it. That's not, neither of those are an indictment on your work. And so being able to just kind of step back and have an open mind on, okay, everybody has a different preference, taste, like taste in food, taste in music, taste in photography. That can help kind of just say, okay, there is an audience for my type of work. It just might not be this person or this client, whatever. So that's again easier said than done, but that can help as well. The other part that maybe is a little egotistical, whatever, is I go back and look at some of the stuff I'm most proud of, and maybe it coincides with the stuff that was received really well, and that can kind of help boost that ego back up where I feel more confident. Okay, I can do this. This was maybe just a bump in the road or whatever. Like for some state videos that I really struggle to kind of get going and get into the flow of things, I go back and look at some of this hype videos that I was really, really proud of how that came out. And that kind of helps me, okay, you can do this. Just kind of like you say, when you don't know what to write, just start scribbling on the paper until stuff comes out. I do that kind of with editing. I'm like, just put this clip here until it starts coming together. And then if you need to even erase those clips and put new stuff in because it finally clicks, go do that. So looking at some of those things that really either were received well or I'm proud of, or both, also helps just kind of be more confident in what I'm creating.
Yeah, and I would agree. Like, that's one of the things I was saying is, like, even with doubt, you just continue to create, still stretch, and also like learn, try something new, something to kind of spark. As like in the creative aspect, I think doubt can be one of the most crippling things to keep you from actually creating whatever art. So just going through that, hitting on or learning a new style or venturing out and trying, going back to a classic form that I really like or things like that. So I agree. Like, I think that's one of the most important things is create through the doubt. The other part that I thought is, so you get feedback by the customers. I get feedback, by comments and stuff. And I think one of the ways to help with doubt is kind of go back and remember when somebody gave positive feedback or stuff like that. And it doesn't happen often all the time, or it's always like instantaneous, like in the moment, and you're like, yeah, and then you work for 2 months, 3 months, you don't get any, and you kind of forget that somebody somewhere, you forget that. Yep. And so going back and just realizing and remembering, oh yeah, this person said that, or looking at past things, or going back, and because I got a folder for each year for unpublished, and sometimes I'll go and it's like, okay, maybe that one I can tweak that and send off. Or so the history of what you've done, you don't stand on what you did in the past. You use it as motivation. It's like, okay, let's do this again, and basically kind of create through the doubt, but get a shot of adrenaline a little bit, like for feedback or an old project.
Yeah, it's like the saying, like, look at your success, don't stare at it. So in time,
I've never heard that one. Where'd you get that one from?
I've heard it a few times.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah,
look at that. I'm learning.
That's my original quote. You can quote me. But I have, like, when I get really positive, like, reviews or feedback, I'll screenshot it and just have it in my Photos app in those moments of doubt. So I can go back and look and be like, all right, I don't suck. And that just helps. Again, you can get too caught up in just in looking at that stuff and just think, like, okay, I'm good, whatever, and not necessarily just let that boost you. That can kind of start derailing you into being complacent. But if you just look at that stuff, get the ego boost, and then channel that adrenaline into the work that you're doing, I think that really just kind of helps you almost just forget what you were even doubtful about. Like these state soccer videos I'm creating typically are not really received with like raucous applause because, one, the sun's still out. They don't tell anybody to look at the video board or anything. The video just starts playing, and so nobody even really.
Yeah, like in the basketball, the lights go down.
Lights go down, and then the only light is the video.
Yep.
And the video board is on the side of the audience, so the audience is looking this way. The video board's constantly showing images, playing music, whatever. So I don't think it's presented very well. But either way, it's typically not received with like a bunch of people cheering or anything.
Yeah.
And the first year that happened, that I was there, which was 2 years ago, I was like, oh crap, this sucked. No one liked it. And I was like, what did I do wrong? I went back and watched them. I'm like, I thought this was pretty cool. I put a ton of effort into it. Like I thought it was really cool. And that was kind of a moment of doubt. Then the next year, I'm like, okay, one, what can we do better? Two, what can we do to make sure that doubt really doesn't come in? Because like just thinking about the exterior factors, maybe that's not all me. It's probably some of it, but maybe it's not all what I'm doing. So how can I change it to appeal more to like that soccer audience, whatever? And again, having kind of the backbone of my work to fall back on that second year and now going into the third year, I don't necessarily let doubt creep in just because of negative feedback or a lack of feedback, which is where I wanted to ask you, what causes kind of more doubt? Is it radio silence or is it kind of negative?
In my world, it's radio silent. Like in that sense, just because obviously social media and some of my communities and stuff there, I have good friends to a degree on there, and they will always give the feedback, but it's just just nothing out besides kind of the typical, and so it's just like, okay, what's going on, or when there was a time one of my poetry books did the Goodreads giveaway, and got no reviews from the giveaway for the first time. I was like, oh, because in past they will do that. That's kind of when they win they will give a review, and actually they kind of say, so it's just like, I had no idea. And it's not like I always need the feedback, but yet I have always stated that there is always a bridge to the reader, the viewer, and so that bridge you want to know if it was constructed well, with that. So for me, it's kind of radio silence,
I'd agree, because like my travel stuff, my leisure stuff always does way less engagement. Nobody typically comments on anything, and I just sit there and I'm like, where's everybody that comments on all my other stuff? And yeah, that's a vein that can really still kind of hit, and I doubt a little bit, is because I am typically really proud of my, just kind of for fun stuff that, like we've talked about, being able to be more creatively free, and it typically does the worst. And so just trying to remove myself from, okay, just because this stuff doesn't do as well doesn't mean that it's bad. Maybe my audience on Instagram is just not necessarily looking for that type of stuff.
But I think the being proud of it, I think that also is one of the ways you can battle doubt, is that don't give up your standards. I had a friend who told me the best-selling, New York Times best-selling doesn't mean it's the best written, and is like, yeah, that's true. It's just, so if you are proud of what you have done, you kept your standards for what you're doing, and then even with the radio silence, doesn't mean that doubt goes away. I think we as creatives battle it all the time. But if you're proud of it, you can be okay. And I have one poem that have got rejection letters from that I'm all like, dang it, this poem is really good. And I haven't shared it at all because I want Lit Magazine to pick it up. And this again is like, I maybe just haven't found the right one. Haven't found the audience or the magazine that would appreciate that one. But I'm still proud of it. I'm gonna submit it again. And at a certain point it'll probably end up in my next book. And then I can't submit to Lit magazines. But if you keep your standards and you are proud of what you produce, that can help, I think, battle doubt also.
Yeah. I think it's one of the more common emotions that creatives go through. Like there's always moments of doubt, no matter how confident you are in a project or just your work overall. And just having ways to circumvent that or just step back from that doubt is really important, because like we talked about, it is a slippery slope, and once you start to doubt yourself more and more and more, that can eventually lead to the stopping of creating altogether, because you just think that you're not good enough, can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like the Netflix documentary of the fall of 2023, I, along with external factors, was doubting my ability to, one, be creative, but also just run the business. And that crippled me for like a month. And I just, like, the business was not doing well because of it. And it was like, but it was not all just kind of up here in my head, but it was something that I did not actively try and remove from my life, and it just keeps kind of growing and growing and growing. And if you don't do that, then the business wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
So I think a good place to end on here for our season 9 premiere. Hope you guys learned something or kind of took away something if you're experiencing kind of some doubtful times creatively. Just keep creating, just hold your standard up, and just know that not every one of your projects is going to be glowing reviews and everybody's talking about it and all this stuff, and that hopefully can help you circumvent that doubt and keep creating and moving on to bigger and better things. So with that, hope you enjoyed the new studio. Again, maybe an outdoor location interspersed throughout the season, but we hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks as always for keeping along through us here as we start season 9. So with that, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.